morning, everyone!
And a happy Monday to all of you. I'm Paolo del Rosario. A brand new day, a brand new week. Let's get you up to speed with some news that you could use right now.
Hello there, beautiful people. I'm Anne Asis-Carilo. It's another gloomy Monday, and that's why we're here to bring you some sunshine, good vibes, and inspiration. And I'm Monique Tuzon. Join us in the next hour for stories and conversations that matter. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And speaking of having a great weekend, I hope you two had a good weekend. What were y'all up to?
It always feels too short, you know?
I
always
know.
feels too short.
I totally agree. I wish Monday was a weekend, actually.
Well, we can't treat Monday like a weekend, no. But yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, it was nice because I got to watch some sports over last Saturday. My mom's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday,
happy
Mom!
birthday.
And it's always great just to just be around family and just take a time to just unwind a little.
Yeah, I was able to spend time with my family too, and we were able to catch that Catherine Bernardo Alden Richards movie.
I want to watch that.
It was so nice. I won't give any spoilers, but really, it's a great movie. You guys should see it. And my goodness, 245 million pesos just on its third day.
Well, you know, I actually
It's
had friends sending me updates of what was happening during the movie.
No.
And I was like,
no spoilers.
all right, that's not so
Play-by-play.
bad. That's not so bad. But you know what? It obviously is a great watch based on the excitement that he had while watching it. He was watching it by himself, though.
Nice.
I think that's the reason why he was texting people.
Actually, I know a lot of people that watched it by themselves.
Yeah.
So I might do
You
that
need to share your
next weekend.
No, you need to share your kilig with someone.
No, we're
someone
good.
Like,
It's okay, I can be killing by myself. It's fine. I'm an independent woman.
All right, you know what? Apart from that, although, we're actually kind of happy that Bagyong Pepito kind of missed Metro Manila, or at least didn't hit it directly. Obviously, it's not the same all throughout the country, but let's get an update on Bagyong Pepito. On to our weather report, a bit of a reprieve as for most of us here, especially in Metro Manila, Typhoon Pepito is expected to exit the country today. Weather Bureau Pag-asa says Pepito may leave the country's weather monitoring area by this morning or around noon. Forecasters are also expecting the weather conditions to improve gradually in the upcoming days. As of 5 a.m., Pepito was last spotted west of Sinai Town in Ilocos Sur. Despite these projections, tropical cyclone wind signals are in place today. Signal number 3 is raised over the northern and western portions of Ilocos Sur, the northwestern portion of La Union, and the western portion of Abra. Signal number 2 is also raised over Ilocos Norte, the rest of Ilocos Sur, and the rest of La Union, including Pangasinan, the rest of Abra, parts of Mountain Province, Benguet, and northern portion of Zambales. Signal number 1 is raised in Apayao, Kalinga, the rest of Mountain Province, Ifugao, western portion of Cagayan, Nueva Vizcaya, parts of Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, and the central portion of Zambales. Now, joining us today is the Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office from Baler, Hector De La Torre. Magandang umaga, Hector. Kamusta ka?
Good morning, sir. Medyo puyat pa.
Well, ganun talaga. Pero Hector, kamusta naman ang lagay doon ngayon sa Aurora?
Dito, sir, sa Baler, matindi ho ang naging ng bagyo dito dahil kahit yung mga sturdy houses na inaakala nating hindi maapektuhan ng bagyo, yung mga bubong, maraming puno ho ang bumagsak dito. And sa ngayon, may power outage tayo since yesterday.
Hector, may estimate na po ba sa damage sa Aurora? Estimated cost?
Actually, sir, ngayon nag-organize pa lang kami for the RDNA, Rapid Damage Assessment. We're just waiting for members para makapaglatag kami ng damage assessment. Over.
Hector, na-mention mo kanina, walang power po sa lugar ninyo. May estimated time na may babalik ba ang power?
Ngayong araw, sir, palagay ko hindi. Dahil may mga poste tayo, tsaka may mga power lines tayo na talagang bumagsak sa kalsada mismo.
Kamusta po yung relief efforts po doon sa Aurora?
Come again, sir?
Yung relief efforts po doon with regards to yung mga relief packs na nandun, ilan po yung na-evacuate?
Oo. meron tayong evacuated families po out of 50,747 total population or 13,700 families. Yung pong 544 na families or 1,874 individuals, yun po yung ating evacuated. No? Meron kasi tayong inside evacuation na 438 families. And outside the evacuation center is 106 families po. Ito yung mga nasa relatives nila sa mga kaibigan.
Hector, sa MDRRMO, ano po yung priority po ninyo at the moment?
Ngayon, sir, ang pinapriority namin yung ma-clear yung daan natin. Mag-organize din kami ng clearing group para dito sa kahit man lang doon sa mga major thoroughfares natin ay magkaroon tayo ng access tulad yung hospital, just in case mayroong masama na ang pakiramdam, and of course sa public market natin, groceries.
Hector, may tulong na ba na pinadala ang national government?
Dito, meron kasi kami mga prepositions na before typhoon na Nika pa. Meron mga dumating sa amin na mga goods from government. And yung siguro yung mga requested namin sa region for Typhoon Nika baka ngayon idalahin sa amin. May na-expect kami na dadating na US aid ngayong araw. And sana malaking bagay yan para matulungan yung mga kababayan natin dito.
Hector, maraming salamat sa update. Alam ko puyat ka. Sana po things get a bit better there. Thank you very much po.
Now, several cities and provinces in Luzon have suspended classes today due to Typhoon Pepito. In Metro Manila, the cities of Manila, Caloocan, and Valenzuela have called off classes in all levels for public and private schools. In the Bicol region, Camarines Sur and Caramoan likewise announced class suspensions, including Etiague in Isabela and Nueva Vizcaya in the Cagayan Valley. A number of towns and cities in Batangas, like Agoncillo and Mabini, also decided to call off classes as well. Towns and cities in Bulacan have also suspended classes for today, including Malolos, Maykawayan, Obando, and San Jose del Monte. The provinces of Cavite, Laguna, and several places in Quezon also announced class suspensions for today. Philippine Airlines also announced it is canceling today's flight from Manila to Busuanga in Coron, Palawan due to inclement weather. Make sure to visit our website bnc.ph for the complete list of class suspensions and flight cancellations for today.
The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, conducted a road clearing operation in Gigmoto, Catanduanes on Sunday. That's after Super Typhoon Pepito wreaked havoc in the island, leaving roads impassable from fallen trees. Pepito first made its landfall in Panganiban, Catanduanes Saturday evening. Though still reeling from the damage of the typhoon, Pag-asa has removed tropical cyclone wind signals in the province Sunday night.
The 4 overlapping storms that swirled near the Philippines this November was, quote, unusual, says NASA. NASA says the Japan Meteorological Agency reports it's the first time since records began in 1951 that so many storms coexisted in the Pacific Basin in November. NASA shared on social media a satellite image showing tropical cyclones Marce, Nika, Ophel, and Pepito lining up in the Western Pacific on November 11th. A total of 6 cyclones have already entered the country in a matter of weeks, starting from Christine and Leon in October, then Marce, Nika, Ophel, and Pepito this November.
In the meantime, the damage to agriculture due to the series of typhoons has reached the 8 million peso mark. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council says the damage to agriculture caused by typhoons Nika, Ophel, and Pepito stand at around 8.6 million pesos. The damage to infrastructures is pegged at nearly 470 million pesos. The NDRRMC has yet to report deaths due to the recent calamities, but 2 persons have been reported injured and 2 still missing.
Over 685,000 persons have been reportedly displaced and has affected over 295,000 families.
And of course, still talking about the evacuation efforts and of course relief efforts with regards to Typhoon Pepito. We have with us right now news coming in from Region 8. Makakausap po natin ang Regional Director ng Office of Civil Defense, Lord Byron Torresion. Magandang umaga, Sir Byron. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Sir Byron, can you tell us a bit more about the situations with regards to the areas you're actually responsible for dyan sa Region 8?
We're happy to report that we have experienced 0 casualties, 0 deaths, 0 injuries, and 0 missing during the onslaught of Pepito.
That's great news, sir. Of course, can you give us a reason why, siguro, in terms of yung preparation po ninyo, what was done differently to reach yung 0 casualty rate po ninyo dyan?
Well, it all started preparation. So we did deploy a composite government team. So we called it an CTI team, or Advanced Composite Team, composed from DILG, DSWD, OCD, NP, the Philippine Army, Coast Guard, DICT, to be embedded in our provinces that are likely to be hit. So they were there from Wednesday early on. So we did a preemptive evacuation. We're very thankful for the governors of both.
Sir Byron, of course, we're also still wondering about yung number of evacuees na inalagaan po ninyo. Could you give us an update on how the evacuation centers are doing and, of course, the number of evacuees and families that you're trying to take care of at the moment?
Well, we started to demobilize already, but during the height, we had around 40,818 families. That's equivalent to around 132,562 individuals that were preemptively evacuated. As for the numbers of food items, the region is around 101,000 family food packs on standby. And these are distributed into the different provinces, around 11,000 of which are pre-positioned in Northern Samar and another 7,000 in Eastern Samar. And as of yesterday, we already started to send also additional packs and additional materials to aid the different provinces.
Sir Byron, can you also give us an update on whether or not may estimate po ba kayo about the damage done to the infrastructure in Region 8?
Well, as of yesterday, we experienced 0 damage in terms of houses. There are no partial or totally damaged houses. We also received 0 reports of flooding that are of significance. So there were reports of flooding in Dolores, but it's only ankle deep. We have 0 landslides. And we have 0 reports of affected areas as of this time. Pending Ardena, which will be starting today. So, siguro by tomorrow, we will have a complete figure in terms of agricultures affected.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Byron, and congratulations on the 0 casualty effort. Thank you very much.
Good news, help is underway for the Bicol region, which is still reeling from a series of typhoons. President Bongbong Marcos has launched a relief caravan for the region, comprising 24 truckloads of goods to over 150,000 displaced families and individuals. The program aims to support recovery efforts to communities in Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, and Albay, which has been battered by recent typhoons, including Pepito. Aside from the distribution of relief goods, financial assistance payouts will also be made available.
Now let's check on the roads this rush hour. Here is a look at Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. On the left side of your screens are vehicles going to Sandigan Bayan. On the right side are vehicles headed to the Quezon Memorial Circle. Now, as you can see, both lanes are still looking good at this time. Traffic is still free-flowing on both the northbound and southbound lanes along that stretch of Commonwealth Avenue. Now let's check on EDSA White Plains this time. On the left side are vehicles going to Shaw Boulevard, seeing a bit of a buildup already on that lane. On the right side are vehicles headed to Cubao.
Still looking good, still a good time to drive, and drive safe, everyone, especially in this rainy weather. Heads up motorists, despite the class suspensions, the MMDA says the expanded vehicle number coding scheme is in place for today. Since it's Monday, vehicles with license plates ending in 1 and 2 should be off the road right about now until 10 a.m. and again later from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
You know, it's got a lot of good news coming in from the relief efforts of Bagyong Pepito. We saw that a while ago. Of course, congratulations to the relief efforts in our Region 8 in particular. No casualties, that's nice to see.
Yep.
But still, marami pang kailangan ng tulong. Our friends in Baler still having problems with power and of course in all the efforts there. So we hope everything is okay there. But then, you know, apart from that, there's something that we do have to talk about, and we're going to talk about very soon, is the fact that there was a storm of tears also.
Yes.
just yesterday, talking about the Miss Universe pageant, of course.
Yeah.
Mo, I'm sure that you have thoughts about that.
I do, but we'll save that for when we come back because we've got more stories for you after the break. Like we said, it's been a bittersweet ending for Miss Universe Beth Chelsea Manalo as she fails to clinch the crown but goes home with a special first-of-its-kind title, and we'll find out when we come back. So don't go away. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. For more updates with regards to the relief efforts after Bagyong Pepito, we have with us on the line the Civil Defense Administrator Yusek Ariel Nepomuceno. Magandang umaga, Yusek Ariel. Thank you very much for joining us.
Magandang umaga din po sa inyo at sa ating mga kababayan. Good morning po.
Yusek, could you give us an update on yung overall relief efforts po natin? Because we're hearing news from different regions na may zero casualty scenarios po, but then in other regions, like what we've heard a while ago from Aurora and Baler, may konting problema with regards to the power and with regards to the accessibility ng region po na yan.
First of all, ang unang tinamaan talaga at pinakamatinding epekto ng Bagyong Pepito ay sa probinsya ho ng Catanduanes. At yung mga dinaanan naman nilang lugar, naapektuhan din po, subalit mabuti na lang. Hindi po ganong karaming ulan yung ibinuhos at hindi po ganong kalakas yung hangin na tumama sa kanila. Sa Catanduanes, 11 dun sa 16 nilang mga bayan, talagang lubhang apektuhan. Nakita namin yung mga reports, napakaraming mga bahay, mga struktura, talagang wasak yung mga bahay nila, yung mga bubong, tanggal talaga, including schools, mga paaralan, even government offices. At yung mga poste nila ng kuryente, nagbagsakan, iba nakatagilid, kaya wala sila talagang kuryente as of now. At sa mga ibang bayan naman, marami pa rin talagang, tama po kayo, marami rin mga walang kuryente ngayon dahil yung iba doon talaga nag-preemptive, nag-switch off yung ilaw nila. Hindi lang sa Catanduanes. Ang Catanduanes is probinsya sa Region 5. Dapat maalala po natin, ang Bagyong Pepito, simula nung Bagyong Julian, pang-7 na po itong bagyo na to. Kaya hindi pa ho tapos yung ating relief operations at yung mga damages doon sa maraming probinsya. Nung dumating kung si Pepito lang, kayang-kaya sana natin yan. Subalit ito ay karagdagan na lang pinsala doon sa mga napinsala na nung 6 na bagyo dahil halos pareho po yung mga dinaan ng probinsya.
Yusek, do we have any updates with regards to yung casualties sa Aurora in particular?
Sa buong naman po, bansa na yung mga dinaanan po nitong Pepito, ang magandang balita naman, wala pa pong iulat na patawi. Kaya lang, meron kaming hinahanap na 3 pong naiulat na nawawala dyan sa parting Nueva Ecija. Sana naman makita sila. But as of now, zero casualty tayo. Yan naman po ang target, and that's the goal instructed by President Bongbong Marcos. Although it's difficult, napakahirap po niyan. Talagang zero casualty ang target natin. Para yung ating preparations is laging worst case scenario preparations.
Yusek, na-mention po ninyo na medyo stretch po yung resources po natin, especially with the na sunod-sunod ang mga bagyo na dumaan sa Pilipinas. Can you give us an update on the status of the resources at the moment po and kung kailangan niyo po ng tulong from the other departments with regards to conducting relief efforts?
Tama po. Nung 2 or 3 weeks ago, talagang naiulat naman na nagkulang na yung quick response fund, lalo na ng DSWD. Ang maganda naman sa pag-utos ni Pangulong Bongbong, nag-download na ang Department of Budget and Management ng 875 million papuntang DSWD. Kaya tuloy-tuloy na ulit yung production nila nung family food packs. Dahil sa kanila po nanggagaling yan. Sa amin naman sa OCD at Department of Health, yung hygiene kits at yung medical kits. So, kumpleto naman ho, pati yung mga pangangailangan natin tubig, wag po tayong mag-alala dyan. At yung pondo naman po, talagang gagawa ng paraan naman yan ng Office of the President. Normal na po yung production po natin.
Yusek, of course, prior to Pepito, if I'm not mistaken, the report po there were around 36,000 personnel who were going to be mobilized for relief efforts with regards to Bagyong Pepito. I was just wondering po if from that personnel po, if there are going to be any movement with regards to saan po sila ma-assign ulit just to make sure that yung mga talagang naapektuhan ng Bagyong Pepito will be given priority.
Tama po. Yan naman po lahat ng mga tao natin, including yung mga hard assets, meaning helicopters, naval vessels, C-130s. Strategically positioned naman yan. Kumbaga, they can be mobilized anywhere, no? Subalit tong araw na to, kailangan naming mag-focus sa Catanduanes dahil sila talaga yung pinaka-tinamaan. Ang maganda naman, makakaland naman o makakapunta naman yung mga air assets natin doon, including ng seaport naman nila, yung Pantalan, bukas naman. Doon ho kami nakafocus ngayon. Magkakaroon ng aerial inspection. Subalit isasama na rin naman namin ang aerial inspection sa Central Luzon. At naghihintay pa kami ng balita galing sa Cordilleras dahil late last night until early morning po sila tinamaan. Hopefully walang mga landslides pong nagdulot ng mas malaking pinsala. No? So, focus muna kami ngayon sa Catanduanes, pending yung report sa other areas. Then we will address that base sa report ngayong alas 9 po.
Yusek, maraming salamat sa update. We wish you luck with the rest of the relief efforts. Thank you.
Thank you din po.
Now, moving on to some news for our motorists here today. A mix of news here, good news and bad news. Now, according to the Department of Energy, or DOE, after weeks of oil price hikes, a rollback is expected starting Tuesday. Gasoline prices will drop by 70 centavos to 1 peso per liter. Diesel prices will decrease by 65 centavos to 95 centavos per liter. But kerosene prices will also join them, by the way, roll back by 70 centavos rather, not 70%, 70 centavos to 80 centavos per liter. Meanwhile, starting Tuesday, toll fees will increase at the Subic-Clark-Tarlac Expressway or SCTEX. For Class 1 vehicles, an additional 64 centavos per kilometer will be added. 1 peso and 29 centavos will be added for Class 2 vehicles. As for Class 3 vehicles, an additional 1 peso and 93 centavos per kilometer will be added. This means that there will be a 25 pesos toll fee increase for Class 1 vehicles traveling from Tarlac to Mabalacat City. Ooh! The oil prices get a bit cheaper, but then the toll gets a bit heftier if you're passing SCTEX. So, give or take, good and bad news nga.
I know, but you know what? For the commuters, they are going to be giving out a big sigh of relief because we have some good news for our commuters. The first phase of LRT1 Cavite Extension opened to the public over the weekend, operating from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. The Phase 1 adds about 6.5-kilometer extension line from Quezon City to Baclaran. The 5 additional stations are Redemptionist Station, MIA Station, Asia World Station, Ninoy Aquino Station, and Dr. Santos Station. Now, in total, the full stretch of the integrated LRT1 will be over 32 kilometers, aiming to ease traffic congestion in the Parañaque, Las Piñas, Cavite corridor.
Now, this is something exciting for me because good news in agriculture, anything with food. The Philippines just exported its first batch of Hass avocados to Japan. The Agriculture Department, or DA, calls this a significant milestone in the country's export growth.
DA adds they're optimistic this will lead to opportunities in other international markets for locally grown Hass avocados. The global market for Hass avocados is projected to reach $18 billion next year. I love avocados!
Same.
Actually, Philippines has great avocados. I always eat avocados.
We have great fruits in general.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm not surprised that we're exporting avocados
It's
as well.
about time.
Yeah, I know. Do you have them with toast? Are you that type of person?
Always. I love how you know me. You called me out. Basic.
Yes.
I do avocado toast all day, every day.
I didn't call you basic, you did. Let us now focus on sports. And of course, the big news in sports over the weekend was that boxing legend Mike Tyson reveals that he went through a near-death experience ahead of his showdown against Jake Paul. On his Instagram post, the 58-year-old Iron Mike says he almost died in June and, quote, had to fight to get healthy to fight. The match was originally scheduled for July 20th before it was moved to November. Tyson adds, having his children watch him, quote, stand toe-to-toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half his age. In fact, the packed crowd is an experience that no man has the right to ask for. The so-called baddest man on the planet lost to the 27-year-old YouTuber turned prize fighter by unanimous decision over the weekend. That was Tyson's first sanctioned professional match in nearly 2 decades since his last pro fight back in 2005. From the boxing ring to the cage, John Bones Jones remains the UFC heavyweight champion. Jones defeated Stipe Miocic by a 3rd-round technical knockout using a spinning body kick as his finisher. Miocic eventually announced his retirement from MMA after the fight. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump and his allies were also in attendance for UFC 309 at Madison Square Garden in New York. Trump is also known to be friends with UFC CEO and President Dana White.
Now on to the pageantry world, because Chelsea Manalo brought pride to the Philippines as she was crowned Miss Universe Asia 2024, one of the 4 continental queens in this year's Miss Universe pageant. Though her journey ended before the top 12, Manalo stood tall among 125 candidates, representing the country with grace and strength. Manalo expressed gratitude.
Hello, maraming salamat. Mabuhay po Pilipinas. We are making history as Miss Universe Asia.
Now feast your eyes, because Chelsea Manalo stunts in a Tiffany gown, a perfect fusion of modern sophistication and timeless grace, a supposed evening gown during the Miss Universe 2024 held in Mexico. Adorned with ostrich feathers, the gown embodies strength and elegance, complementing Chelsea's queenly presence. A gown that truly transpires magic.
Now, the nation's girl group Beanie stuns its fans with a full-out opening of their concert, Grand Beanieverse, on Saturday. Beanie entered the stage from a flower blooming open on stage before they performed their hit song, Pantropico. Guest performers include Mr. Pure Energy Gary Valenciano and Asia's songbird Regine Velasquez. However, the second day of the 3-day concert was rescheduled from November 17th to 19th due to Typhoon Pepito. Star Magic says November 17th ticket holders are entitled to a refund if they're unavailable to attend the new schedule.
Oh, grabe. That was a concert for all generations.
Yeah.
You had Beanie, you had Gary V.
And Regine Velasquez, right?
Regine
It
Velasquez.
covered the whole spectrum. Yeah.
Yung buong age group natin nandun. Here's another road check at this hour before we start talking about age once again. You're seeing the live traffic situation, at least we're about to bring it up, along EDSA White Plains. There you go on the left side of your screen. Vehicles going to Shaw Boulevard. On the right are vehicles going to Cubao. As you can see, southbound starting to pile up. Make sure that you do plan your trip and hit the road, especially if going down south, as soon as possible. Let's now check on the situation along EDSA Guadalupe northbound. On the left side of your screens are the vehicles going south, or rather north, if I'm not mistaken. As we go and check that out, that is the left side going to Makati. On the right side are vehicles going to Shaw Boulevard. Traffic is flowing there, so make sure that you do enjoy and you stay safe on the road at the moment.
Now, when we return, we'll explore a condition that affects millions of women worldwide, PCOS. What causes it, how it impacts daily life, and tips for managing it. So make sure you stay tuned for insights you won't want to miss.
Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now it's Monday, a fresh start, and the perfect time to focus on health. Let's shed light on PCOS, or polycystic ovary syndrome, a condition that affects many women but doesn't define them. Now, from hormonal shifts to stubborn symptoms like acne and irregular cycles, PCOS can be a challenge, but it's manageable with the right care. Remember, small steps like a balanced diet and active lifestyle can lead to big changes. Let's own this week with strength and self-care. Now, to tell us more, we have Dr. Issa Matibag Quiaoit, obstetrician and gynecologist. At the same time, she's a content creator who talks more about PCOS through various social media platforms. It's a beautiful day, Dr. Issa. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Great to have you on the show today, Doc. Looking very bright and pretty this Monday morning. Now, first and foremost, Doc, let's define PCOS. What is polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, and what are its main symptoms?
Yes, so polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS, so that's what it stands for. To diagnose PCOS, we have three criteria. We have irregular menses, which is the first criteria. The second is signs of hyperandrogenism. This can manifest as hormonal acne, excess facial hair, that is hirsutism. And then the third one would be polycystic ovaries on ultrasound. So those are the three. You only need 2 out of the 3 to be diagnosed with PCOS. And it doesn't mean that if you have an ultrasound that says that you have PCO or polycystic ovaries, doesn't automatically mean that you already have PCOS. So you need 2 out of the 3 criteria.
Doc, of course, you make content with regards to this. You make content in general with regards to medical conditions. But then, why should we talk about PCOS more? Is it something that is relatively undiagnosed here in the Philippines? And of course, how can that type of content really help educate those who need to get checked and need to be diagnosed with this?
Yes, that's right. Currently, 1 out of 10 women are diagnosed with PCOS, and I'm pretty sure that there are a lot more people who are undiagnosed because, you know, there's a lot of stigma sometimes of going to the OBGYN, and so some females are still afraid to approach us to diagnose them if they have irregular menses or any other symptoms as well. So I'm pretty sure this might be an underestimation of the incidence right now. But again, it is very important because it can impact other features of your life also. So it can affect your metabolic condition. It can affect you physically, mentally, emotionally as well. So yeah, there's a lot of other factors that can be affected when you do have PCOS.
Doc Issa, now as a woman myself, the number you just said, the 1 out of 10 women get PCOS. So I'm kind of nervous. Can you tell us what causes PCOS, and is it genetic or is it more like a lifestyle thing that contribute to it?
Actually, it's a mix of both now. So yes, there is a genetic factor to it, and then there's also a lifestyle factor to it, right? So one of the major causes of PCOS, aside from the genetic or the family history, could also be insulin resistance. So insulin resistance, when you have it, it causes your insulin to spike up as a compensatory mechanism, and what it does is also raises your androgens, or the male hormones in your body, and this can lead to irregular menses, other signs and symptoms like what I mentioned earlier, like hormonal acne, excess facial hair. It can also cause skin tags, hyperpigmentation, and it can increase your risk for other conditions like diabetes. It can also increase your risk for endometrial cancer and other diseases as well.
You know what, Doc? You mentioned lifestyle. No, this is a lifestyle thing, yung PCOS. And one of the major symptoms that women are really bothered about is yung weight gain, the uncontrollable weight gain when you have PCOS, right? Because I see some of my friends who are suffering from PCOS, yun ang pinaka-concern nila eh. They really can't control. They exercise every day, but it's really uncontrollable, no? What are the physical activities and exercises that they can do to improve PCOS management? And not just exercise, maybe diet also, no? Diet management.
Yes, so one of the ways when I advise my patients, so when it comes to the proper diet, of course, a calorie deficit may be helpful for some women. Avoiding food such as red meat, inflammatory food like increased food in trans fat, or those with preservatives, and even those with oily, fatty food, you can avoid those. And when it comes to exercising, zone 2 exercises, you know, what you can, where you can raise your heart rate to around 60% of your maximum heart rate. So like cardio exercises, even as simple as brisk walking is already helpful for patients with PCOS.
You know, Doc, there's a question here that I have no right to ask. So I'm going to ask Mo to ask about this instead. Because apart from obviously the weight gain that Anne mentioned, there are other factors that PCOS does affect. So Mo, again, you should ask this.
Well, Paolo's also curious, Doc, but how does PCOS affect fertility? And what are the treatment options for women who are trying to conceive?
Yeah, so when we approach patients who are having difficulty conceiving because of PCOS, of course, we do have other treatment options. So PCOS, when you have it, you are not ovulating. So this is the one day in a month, so the 24-hour window period that can, where your ovaries will release an egg cell for you to get pregnant, right? And when you are not ovulating, so we do have treatment options to give ovulation induction drugs like letrozole or clomiphene. And if that doesn't work, then we can also refer you to an infertility specialist that can also help you with other procedures like intrauterine insemination or IVF as well.
Doc, here's a question I can ask. Can you tell us a bit more about the role of insulin resistance? Because we're talking a lot about hormones, we're talking a lot about the chemicals in the body, and insulin is going to be one of the factors that PCOS does affect. Could you tell us a bit more about how it can be managed?
Yes, so for insulin resistance, of course, the first line management is still the proper diet and exercise. But there are other treatment options medically. So some doctors prefer giving metformin. There are some who also give myo-inositol and D-chiro-inositol, which are insulin modulators. There are also some supplements that are approved, like omega-3, vitamin D, probiotics, even vitamin E as well, and CoQ10. So these can also help. But of course, if you are planning to take these, you need to see your OBGYN to see what's best for you.
Doc, I'm actually really curious, is PCOS, is that a forever thing? Like, is it curable, or you just have to manage it once you have it?
Yes, when we diagnose you with PCOS, yes, it is a lifetime diagnosis, and it puts you at risk for other conditions like what I mentioned earlier, like type 2 diabetes, endometrial cancer, and all of these. But of course, the symptoms can be managed. So if ever you do have irregular menses, or if you have excess facial hair and uncontrollable hormonal acne, then yes, it's time to see your OBGYN so we can help you manage these symptoms.
Doc, you know what? When you look at the symptoms of PCOS, of PCOS, and the symptoms of perimenopause, parang magkapareho sila eh, di ba? How can you tell that what you have is actually PCOS or perimenopause? Meron bang age group na ito, when you have this at a certain age, PCOS yon? Or how can you tell?
Yes, so PCOS really affects those in the reproductive age. And menopause, usually that happens in your late 40s. So by age group, yes, they are very different. However, it can, of course, transition later on. And we do have tests for menopausal or perimenopausal females so that we can differentiate the two as well.
Well, let me check first if I can answer here ask a question here that is not inappropriate for me. Doc, mental health with regards to PCOS. I mean, like you mentioned it a while ago that there are different factors with regards to how this can affect someone emotionally and also from a mental health perspective, not just because of the PCOS, but then because people are afraid to go to see their OBGYN and seek medical help. What advice could you give with regards to that?
Yes, that's right. So PCOS does also raise the risk of developing depression, anxiety, and of course, it really does impact the the mental health of these women, of course. And when you have PCOS, when you go to the doctor, it's also very important to the doctor to screen their patients for these things. And so we can actually give the right referral to a psychiatrist or to a therapist as well in case they are struggling with this. You know, a lot of self issues, of course, can be managed by a therapist or a psychotherapist as well. And so being able to screen them at during when they are in the clinic is also very important as well.
You know, Doc Issa, we still have a lot of questions to ask you. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. But where can we get in touch with you? Where can we reach you? And also follow you on your socials?
Yes, thank you so much again for having me on the show. If you do want to learn more about general OBGYN, reproductive health, and sexual health as well, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at obgynoncall.ph. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Doc Issa, Dr. Issa Matibag Quiaoit, right there, obstetrician and gynecologist, joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Doc. And of course, it's just...
Nakakatuwa ka. You were selecting your questions.
I know, behind the scenes, behind the camera, Paolo was like, I can't ask this, Mo, you got this.
There are literally some questions I think it's more appropriate if the two women on the show actually do ask.
I know.
Paolo out here talking about menopause, now PCOS.
I know, right?
I love it. Educating women out here left and right.
And you know what? As a guy, we gotta understand too, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's
syempre, but at the
And
same
it's also
time...
nice to know about these things. So once your partner, you know, goes into that age na and experiences those symptoms, you would understand. You know how to.
But here was another question I was going to say, because PCOS is not necessarily for the older
younger,
it could happen to the younger ones also. But then of course there's a lot with regards to that, but for the meantime, again, a while ago we talked a lot about the weather, so we actually have some from Pag-asa to help us out here because of course Bagyong Pepito still technically in the PAR. We're gonna get an update in just a bit coming from Roy Jumawan. Magandang umaga, Roy. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes po, magandang umaga po at magandang umaga po sa lahat po ng ating taga-subaybay. Narito po ang kalagayan ng ating panahon. Ang binabantayan po nating Typhoon Pipito ay nasa West Philippine Sea na po ito. Huli po itong namataan kaninang alas 4 po ng umaga sa layong 145 kilometers kanluran po ng Sinait, Ilocos Sur. Taglay nito ang lakas na hangin hanggang 130 kilometers per hour malapit po sa gitna at pagbugso ng maabot ng 160 kilometers per hour. Ito'y kumikilos pahilagang kanluran sa bilis ngayon na 30 kilometers per hour. Nakataas po ngayon ang tropical cyclone wind signal number 3 sa bahagi po ng northern at western portion po ng Ilocos Sur, the northern western portion po ng La Union at western portion po ng Abra. Habang signal number 2 naman po sa may Ilocos Norte, rest of Ilocos Sur, rest of La Union, Pangasinan, rest of Abra, western portion po ng Mountain Province, Benguet at northern portion po ng Zambales. Signal number 1 naman po sa may Apayao, Kalinga, rest of Mountain Province, Ifugao, western portion po of Cagayan, Nueva Vizcaya, northern and central portion po ng Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, and the central portion po ng Zambales. Nakataas din po ang gale warning sa mga baybaying dagat po ng northern Luzon at western seaboard po ng central Luzon. Inaabisuhan po ang ating mga kababayan na huwag munang pumalaot sa nasabing lugar at yung lalong-lalo na po yung gumagamit po ng maliliit na sasakyang pangdagat. Inaasahan po natin si Pipito ay patuloy na kikilos pa northwest at dito po patuloy na northwest to northwestward ngayong umaga po at lalabas po natin ito ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility ngayong araw o kaya mamayang tanghali po.
That is weather specialist Roy Jumawan. Maraming salamat, Roy. Thank you for the update. And of course, with the weather starting to clear up, we're gonna be hoping that itong bagyong Pepito will be the last we see, at least for this month.
I hope so, but I heard
this year, sana. For this year, my goodness.
I know, it sounds bad. I mean, weather specialist, Paolo del Rosario, are there more coming in? Because they said there are more, so I don't think Pepito is the last, unfortunately.
Not for, well, for this month, actually, we may see less weather disturbances. Again, patapos na November. So, of course, when December comes, there's still things to monitor. But of course, there is going to be things that we're going to need to talk about soon, not just with regards to the number of typhoons, but of course, the way that we respond to it. And of course, we're going to have that all in just a bit, because we're going to be talking about a lot more with regards to the reaction of yung bagyo dito sa mga bagyo dito sa Pilipinas. Of course, let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. And of course, one of them comes from, we're going to go on X first to try and see how people are reacting to it. It's called, quote, stranger than fiction. That's how user at Mahika Realismo on X describes a series of typhoons that barreled through the country in the past few weeks. And of course, we're going to move on still to X in just a bit. The X user wrote, in fiction, one would think twice before writing 4 consecutive storms into the plot. Pero, well, it looks like it's real. We are living an unbelievable reality thanks to the climate crisis. Moving on to Exiandro. Exiandro did not mince words. He says, I only wish that all the damage inflicted in the global south returns 1,000-fold to the global north. Kasi grabe, because we are at the receiving end of this, of course. Taking a look at the environmental toll inflicted by big corporations from wealthier countries, and of course the amount of damage that happens there. Monique, check this one out.
Yeah, and it's enough said for Pinoy user Anthropam, at Anthropam actually. She says a war-torn art posted by another user is not metaphorical for her, living in a country at the brunt of 6 cyclones in 4 weeks. That sounds so bad, like the way she said it, 6 cyclones in 4 weeks, which was true, grabe.
Yeah. And you're seeing the provinces, they haven't fully recovered from the previous
one
storm.
after another.
Yeah, one after another.
I feel like it's been weekly. Like literally, we just had awful last week, and then now Pepito, and then
there was Christine, there was Leon, there was Marce, there's Pepito, a lot. There's a lot happening.
Sana there's a way that we can donate, no? I'm sure they need relief goods.
Oh, yeah. There are lots of ways.
Just check socials for all like the non-profits and everything.
Yeah, of course. Syempre, we're also thinking about what are the ways that we can go and try and prevent this in the future. Obviously, this is a climate change issue as well. And of course, we're going to talk a lot more about that later on throughout the week, I'm sure, as we wrap this up here today for Monday, November the 18th. Paolo del Rosario, thank you very much for joining us here today.
I'm Anne Asis-Carilo, sending love and good vibes your way.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. I hope you stay safe and dry. We hope you all have a great day ahead. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow at 7 a.m. only here on
It's a Beautiful Day.